No sagging. Copter demo. Know why you're the world. Uses a quadrant unlimited air. 3 unlimited.
Now this is from Sam Shirota. Beautiful King Cobra. I know Midgley, eat your heart out on this. And it looks like he's trying to use a Volley 3 blade. Look at the paint job on this with some pearl effects in it. Sent me a real nice letter. I'll definitely submit this to Stunt News. Check this out. Really, really looks nice. Sam. And thanks for the can of thinner. Sam sent some thinner for me to check out. He says he hasn't had any weather to fly it yet, but boy, from the look of the pictures, Sam, it's definitely awesome. Congratulations. The King Cobra. And I want to thank Georgino again for all the great RC footage he's been sending, and I really love all these guys. They're worse than we are. Really creative people. Now, Gallagher sent a whole bunch more stuff. I haven't even looked at it yet. He also sent something I think is real nice, is a note with all little hints, tips, whatever. And I appreciate everybody, and especially Ed, of course, that's been contributing. We are pretty much ready to pour another prop, and I'm just waiting for some more information on the resin. We're trying to get some Epon resin. That's waiting. The 5 blade is sitting down there on the floor. He's waiting. There's a crack. I fixed the crack, and it's still gelling up, so I don't know if we're ever going to salvage that or not. But one of the things, I'm going to be returning this plane to Joe tomorrow. I wanted to make up, see how nice he inked on the side, and that is really creative now. And I have no problem with working with Joe's artwork ability. Joe is for sure one of the best, and when he comes up with a nice idea, some of the things he did that really catch my eye, having the invasion stripes on the Spitfire, well, I didn't think of that. And the landing gear legs are just one of the things. So I have this extra set. This is supposedly my what will be the concrete gear for the smaller wheels. So I want to ink that up today, and then tomorrow we'll get this plane back to Joe, and hopefully get some flying on this guy tomorrow. Good one. You mean your photo pack got a nice flyer for BSC? Now I'm not from the believe me. Anyway, what now I like to do good old-fashioned incredible enough. Some ink line work, a little buzz up the titles out of it or something. A full Hemi, you get the fully to happen is you run or anything from an airplane. If I can run home this 32 and the they would have, you know, you have to be. Well, I thank Joe for a really good idea. I think that's going to look good. I'll get some clear on this. You can hear the compressor running, and that'll be an extra little thing. And that's one I just wanted to mention, one of the nice things about having 2 planes the same. When you pick up an idea that works on one, that's always our major thrust here. Pick up the idea on one, you can use it on the other one. Okay, I had a little time here in between in between other projects. I laid up another test prop with surfboard resin, put yellow dye in it. This is with the new mold, and we haven't even tested it yet, so I can get this drying over the weekend while we're hopefully going to have some good air at Middlesex. Now this, of course, has several cracks in it. What I'm going to try to do here, I'm trying to make a decision. I'm going to try to salvage this by grinding it and sanding it and maybe making some patches. But I also want to do another hand layup of this one. Do it with layup rather than in layers, rather than doing it in a pour mold like this. So maybe I could work on this a little bit this afternoon too. Hey, you're home already. Great. complaining. Alright, I guess this is going to be the end of this session. I'll try to get this primed up. I cleaned this up. The black piece, I don't know if I can salvage it or not. I'm going to think about it, but clean this up, and when you fail, you start all over again. And no matter how many times you fail, it's irrelevant, because if you don't give up, you can't fail. The game is never over until you quit. And we'll get a 5-bladed prop if that's the last thing I do. Even if the blades fly off and kill all the judges, I'll get a 5-bladed prop. Alright, I'm going to get ready to prime this up. Karen's home. I'm amazingly early. And this is hard to believe. They predicted rain all day. I come outside after an hour. The rain's gone, it's sunny, and tomorrow is Joe's test day, so boy, I just hope the weather holds out. Anyway, I'm going to get this primed. That's probably all I'll get done, maybe some PVA on this. And I'll see if I can salvage that other piece of the mold, but my plan is to make another half of this mold, since I don't want to have to make... This is the hard part to make, by the way. The other part is bullshit. Pouring a mold is nothing. This is the part that's a pain to make. So let's just see what I can salvage here, and you never know. Hey, little miracles happen. But it's that old thing of being determined. You know, even if I did have to start all over again, it would mean nothing. We are going to get this sucker done. And we are going to be at the Nats with a 5-bladed prop, whether I like it or not. By the way, this Krylon primer, not for models, of course, but for this kind of filling up molds really is a good material. And I'll steel all this off after it dries. I'm just lucky that this part of the mold didn't break. This could have been a real disaster. Shame there's so many cracks in here. I don't even know if this is going to be worth salvaging. I had an idea as to how I could fix this, but not being a real mold maker, I'm sure it's really not appropriate. Anyway, I got to think about this a little while. I just want to clean this up, see if there's any part of this I can salvage. Wiping this down with some acetone to see just how bad some of these cracks are. This is really my own fault for not understanding the ratio of catalyzing the resin. I did not catalyze the resin properly, and this is the result. Now when you want to do a thick casting like this, what you're supposed to do is use less catalyst, and if it starts getting too hot, what you're supposed to do is either put it in the ice box or put it with a fan blowing on it. And this material is not made to be poured like this in a thick mode. So, again, this is how you learn. Education is expensive. Next step, I want to get this waxed up and PVA'd. I don't know, I think I'm going to give this thing a try. What I thought I might be able to do, and of course this is being really creative, I'm not sure this is really the right, I'm sure it's not the right way to do it. This is like the windy way. I want to fill that other cavity with some thin tooling resin and then drop this in so that actually the broken casting becomes part of the new casting. Now I'm sure like a real mold maker would be vomiting right now at the thought of doing it in such a butchery way, but you know, this is not like I need to make 1,000 props out of this mold. And the main thing is I want to, in a learning process, see if I can get away with some of this stuff on low production molds. You know, if I was making a mold where I was making up 500 props, well, this kind of stuff is not appropriate, but I think for what I'm doing, I think I will or can get away with it. And since I want to maybe even make another 5-blade mold for the future, I might want to make a 12-inch 5-blade. Who the hell even knows? But I'm so determined to do this. Now I'm going to try something here. What I'm going to try is I have 3 little cups of resin ready to mix up. I want to fill all the little cracks with thin resin. Then what I'm going to do is take some chop and put it in with whatever resin is left over and float the male mold right into this. So in effect I'll have a mold within a mold and see if this works. And I'm sure this is more for my own education or something I can pass on to you. But if it works, I've saved maybe 20 or 30 hours of labor. If it doesn't work, you know, it's not the end of the world. I'll make another mold. Just practice being tenacious, I guess. Anyway, the first step here is I want to do this kind of methodically, is brush on a real thin coat of this stuff right into all the cracks. I did a little test fit, and the other mold does fit in there, kind of rickety, so this will just be riding on the pin, and I'll try to get it all level and then put it outside to cure over the weekend anyway. I'm just putting plenty right in. See, the most important thing here really is where the prop blades are. The rest of it is really like, as long as I don't get an interference fit, I guess it'll be okay. And there's obviously a good chance this is not going to work at all, and I'm going to have to start from scratch. But even so, if that happens, I have a piece of nice aluminum now that Ron donated to the cause, and I have another piece that I need to saw up, but I don't have an appropriate saw to cut it. I may have to go down to a machine shop to do that. But in the meantime, I'm real curious to know if this is going to work. And what I'll do too is, before I clamp this together, I'll paint the other side and make sure there's plenty of material in here so it just floats anew. You know, the idea here is I'll get this down into the cracks. Again, I don't really, you know, this is the kind of stuff you could call people up and they'd probably tell you, nah, this won't work, and they're probably right. But you know, when you're in this position, you have nothing to lose. Now to this next batch, I want to add some milled fibers just to make this thick so I can hopefully squeeze it out. I guess half of the fun of any kind of model making is just seeing what you can and can't do. A lot of times there's things you can do that you don't know unless you try them. Now I just did something. I painted over some Imron landing gear that had Imron on them from an old plane. And I know you can't put lacquer on top of Imron. You know what? It worked. I use that Krylon primer in between. No problem. So there's a tip right there, learning. It's butchery stuff, but when you have to do it, you have to do it. Now this batch has the chop in it. I'm just trying to make sure I get it down in all the cracks. And I'll go out there and get the other piece that has the PVA drying. Be an interesting experiment. Now I'll just get this painted up on here. And then when I clamp this together, let's hope I haven't trapped any air bubbles. I'll try to clamp it together real slow. If I need more resin, I have 1 extra ounce ready to catalyze there. Alright, this is the 3rd and last batch. I know it is, most of this is going to ooze out all over the place. I got to do this real quick because Karen's out of the house shopping right now, and when she gets back, oh man, is it just stinking down there? Oh my God, Wendy! I got a dose of that this afternoon. I don't need another one. That's why. Now I marked the mold on the other side, which quadrant lined up with which one. Okay, I have to go outside and get the clamps now. Well, of course, what I'll do is just wait, little by little, torque the clamps down and hope I don't crack this son of a gun. Anyway, it's the last night we're going to get to look around at this garden. Been working on this for 2 weeks or so, digging and digging and digging and digging. But anyway, tomorrow is ADAMUSKO day, and I'm really looking forward to spending a day with Joe and getting his plane in the air. Now this is our good old-fashioned #2 mold here. I got these real nice wedges from Gallagher, of course, and I hope these are going to save a lot of wear and tear on a mold. Now because this is clear, I can see the split going right down the middle of the mold here. Oh. You know what I think? I think I'm taking this out of the mold too soon. It's been drying all afternoon, but it's still not totally cured, so maybe I should just leave it. Just let it cure. Now I gotta remember to leave these things in a mold longer. This is surfboard resin. This is really just test props anyway. See how soft it is, you can bend it. But it won't be soft tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure what I did is I just pulled this out of the mold too soon. That's my own fault. I have to remember that on that 5-blade. Anyway, this will give us a relative test of the strength of this resin versus all the other ones. We have at least 15 different kind of resins here now, and we still don't know which one we're going to ultimately make that 5-bladed prop with. I cut the flashing and clean this up, and okay, this has to be fully cured, of course, and hand finished before I can go any further on this. Now you can see what we're lucky enough to have is we came down to fly, perfect air, and they're having a bike auction on the field. Push it the other way, make sure it tracks straight. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I didn't check the roll on it. Yeah, that's tracking straight. I made up a duplicate set of gear like yours with the inclines.
Yeah?
I scooped you on it.
Hey, well, I've been scooping you on this.
Yeah.
It just adds a little bit,
You know what you want to do, though? At the end of the day, you want to get rid of that filter and put a brand new one in there.
Okay,
That's just one I had in my box. I didn't have any more new ones.
Well, I ran a gallon of...
You ran this thing clean, right?
What's that, the tank? Yeah,
Yeah, you've had gas. Let's run it on the ground once anyway. Never fool around with that. Just in case you got a, a booger in there. The RAF needs... Now Joe's going to be starting with the handle set pretty close to what mine was, or is. And start off the day with a... What are you going to put on, a 12.5 Zinger? Okay, that's a good base baseline prop, never hurt you. For a first flight, that'll be fine.
Matter of fact, even that 12.5 zinger I had with the chink out of the tip, still done. This is
Yeah. Well, I got all the other 4 blades and stuff with me. And when the spinners come back, the anodized, we'll have all the spinners in one shot.
Yeah, no. I could go with that yellow one, but I know if I don't want, it's a little too close to the back plate. I could put one of those.
You got a sandpaper disc?
Yeah, I got my feces consolidated. It's been a while, man. I haven't.
Hey, Spitfire pilots have to be ready on a moment's notice.
Oh, yeah.
Ready for its maiden flight. All we're waiting for is a prop. A prop of choice. We're going to bench run it on the ground and hook up the lines and get them set. And hopefully before the air goes bad or before the bike auction comes over and buys one of our Spitfires. What they ought to have over there is a marijuana auction. Then they'd get more kids.
They look like pretty good kids. Over
Yeah,
there.
they're all right.
Yeah. Hard to get or whatever. I don't know, maybe they do that for me.
This is the puddle that claimed about 7 wet landings last week on my Spitfire. Joe doesn't have any puddles. The field is perfectly dry. Of course, the bike auction is in full swing over there. As soon as you start an engine, all the Harley riders will come over here. No problem. All right, we're ready. Hey, there's a sound I love. Music to Winston Churchill's ears over here. Oh, you're about ready, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll never take a chance letting it go without get my watch here. As more guys take off on the first flight, pick up that first booger, and now for 8 minutes to 10 minutes you're hanging on watching your motor ropes. If anything, run it rich.
I did. I got
If anything, let it go rich. There's the plug. Now you know why. Record it on video. You know why you don't take off without bench running?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Guy knows his shit, huh? You hit me in the foot with the glow plug. Yeah, here it is. It's over here.
nice and cool, too.
Oh, again.
I guess I got to replace that, huh?
Always grab it with your lips. Yeah. No, I would put a new plug in. Oh, I've been shot. I've been shot. Okay. Lesson number 1. Always bench run the plane. Oh, God. I couldn't believe it. Joe, you think that's funny? I went out to the field with a brand new plane. When Greenaway was out at the field with a big BJ. We go to fuel the plane up. Motor's never been run, never had fuel in the tank. Hook the vent up, and there's epoxy in the vent. Oh. So I'm filling up the fuselage. I'm filling up the tank, the filter, the head of the motor, everything. And he's laughing. Fuel's coming out the bottom. Why didn't you bench run the plane, you
Does it
fool?
matter if I got an idle bar on that?
Nah.
Okay, because
There's probably nothing wrong with that plug. I'd just be thinking maybe that the last thread took a beating. Yeah.
Don't need that.
Yeah, I can go get mine. I bought some Thunderbolts this week. Thunderbolts run good in these. Good second choice.
Yeah.
All right, try it. I poured up the other half of that 5. Trying to fix that 5-bladed prop mold's making me crazy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not.
Doing what?
These birds mating in the trees here or something? I had more crazy. Hank Forbes took off one time, brand new plane. Went a half a lap, sucked up a stone or whatever he had in the tank. And that thing must have ran 20 minutes. Just roasted the motor. The motor was black when it landed. Goodbye.
Let's try it again.
I'd go out a couple flicks just to make sure, because that probably was sucking air in that time. Boy, it feels smooth as glass, though. Man, the body, you know. You can tell right away if it's going to be a shaker.
It's one of those kind of plugs.
Oh, you can't get the,
Yeah. Okay.
I got all my stuff in the truck too, just in case. Looks like the Harley bike auction's still underway over there. Imagine if this was 20 years ago, every one of those kids would be over here. Oh, model planes, oh. Now, get it.
You know, that's too bad, but
I mean, it's incredible to think that's the truth, though. Is they don't give
again,
a
on
shit.
balance, it's something I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, just because somebody else doesn't enjoy it, or
Put 2 washers under the plug if it doesn't. The miracle plug?
I don't know what maybe that's one of the original goddamn things that came. Are we on?
You're always on.
I don't have
The camera sees everything. Hey, if it isn't this way, what good is it? You know, when you see edited stuff on 2020 and they say, oh, well, we just edited that out. Yeah, bullshit. This man refused to talk to us on camera. We'll grab him by the goddamn throat and make him talk. They should hire me for 2020. I'll show them how to get an interview. Guys, well, this certain congressman didn't respond. Yeah. Wait out by his limo. Carlo said he may stop down this afternoon. He's got to work. And my wife's got more yard work planned. We must have 200 shrubs and bushes to plant.
Geez, what I did last night.
Yeah, I'm happy. She's out buying more today. All right, I would say just hook up the lines. Let's get some neutral. Hey, let's fly while the air's flyable. I hear. Hey, watch out for those geese. I heard the geese just went over.
Yeah.
Last week we had a couple of geese checking out the Spitfire episodes here. All right. Man, if there's one thing you pick up off the video, if you don't pick anything else up, bench run a new model. You never know what's going to be loose, what crazy thing is going to happen. Save yourself a motor or save some aggravation, save whatever. Help save the whales, save Windy, whatever you think. But boy, oh boy, bench run a new model. Okay, Joe's hooking up the handle, and we're going to record for all eternity the first flight of the Spitfire. recorded for all prosperity, all prostate operations. Joe ADAMUSKO's first flight on the Spit. Definitely going to be changing that prop. Not crazy about that prop, whatever that was. Now my impression is the motor's running too fast. If you go back and look at the footage, you'll see there isn't much of a 2/4 brake, and it's on the slow side. So we want to definitely put a prop on here that'll give the motor more of a brake. It's a brand new motor too. It probably needs some flights. So anyway, it looks good in the air though. Comes at you with all those zebra stripes. Right in a puddle, Joe.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh.
That's nice.
Now let's see your face, Joe. Happy?
Yes, I am.
Well, happy, unhappy? Carlos said he'll give you $50 for it.
I want you to try it. But
All right. Now, while Joe's changing the prop, I wanted to mention something. You know, all of us here in the stunt world, we all love Doug Taffender, and somebody chucked a pipe bomb in his house. And apparently, I'm going to give him a call tonight. There was a lot of damage. He's got the FBI over there and everything. And I'll tell you how serious this accident was. Carlos told me how serious it was. Anybody that's ever had a phone call with Doug, you know, he liked...
That I didn't like, it was mushy. That was the main thing.
It was mushy because of the prop.
Yeah.
You were already running the motor too hard.
Too hard, yeah.
And you had no motor run. So, but that's
All
all.
right, so with this, should I back it out a click?
Let's see what it sounds like. And toward the end of the flight, it was just running dead lean. You know, it was running like a clean pipe motor. So forget it. I always had luck with these props on a light plane. Not good on a heavy plane. To fix a clip on Joe. Joe has, it looks like, so nervous from having a new plane, he forgot all about checking the line clips. And if there's ever one thing you don't want to do is run out to the handle and have the clip click, especially on a new plane. You're thinking about 100 other things. This wing looked a little down inverted. Can't really see it through the lens. I'll look on the next flight. Down inverted, just a tad. Now this prop, this is Brian Ether's prop, the 2-blade. This is one always seems to work good on light planes, and being this one is relatively light, lets the motor unload real nice. Looks like he's got a motor run, and that's how I like to hear the motor sounding, in a motor run, not in a dead 2-cycle for the whole flight. Now the idea of this is when we go home and look at the video, we can see if he's got... needs a tank shim. I can watch the tape and see, you know, just by the way it's braking good on insides. This is Joe. For anybody who doesn't know, this is Joe's 3rd flight of the year, by the way. He had 1 flight on my Spitfire. He's got all Spitfire time logged in this year. This certainly looks you know, like it has the corner we're looking for, and it really looks attractive in real life. In the air, as it comes around with all those stripes and yellow and everything, God. See that third corner? Watch that third corner. Whoop, done. A lot of planes get all mushed out and sluggish there. Okay, you got the brake on insides. Looks like the shim is close. Now all I did is I mirror imaged the shim. I guess I did. I don't even remember if I did. Close to what mine was, since they both have the same nose construction and everything. Just want to see if we got an equal run here. Yeah, that's plenty equal. Shutting off at the bottom and lean at the top. That's plenty close enough for getting the first day of flying in. Dead lean up the top and shut off here. And if you don't have that, you know, years ago there was all kind of stuff written when they were first fooling around with tune fire. You don't need a motor run, just run the motor hard. Yeah, where are they now? Nobody believes that anymore. There isn't a single person, and if you think Paul Walker doesn't know about motor runs, go listen to the video. He has probably the best tune pipe run of people with that, and I think any of the big gym flyers have the good 60 motor run. You know, years ago when they were running 60s, other people gave up on 60s because they couldn't get them to run. They were running stock heads with 190 pounds of compression, and they never figured out the secret to getting this stuff to run. Getting it to brake reliably. Now, Casminato's back on a 60. I'm glad to hear that. Several of the European people have come around, so it will be interesting to see how the world champions turn out. Without that motor run, yeah, you can still fly, and if you can get your friends to judge, you can still win. But boy, oh boy, when you have a motor run and a well-trimmed plane, you're so far ahead of the game. It's just so much more fun to fly. Just plain fun is what it is. All right, I'm going to put this down now. The battery's flashing. I got to go get another battery. Joe ADAMUSKO, second official flight, third flight of the year. No, it's just going to mean more adjustment. We got Johnny O up on the field here with his new Spirit, I guess how you say that.
Esprit, man, come on.
Esprit. John is on the Polish.
Hi, how you doing?
Notice he. All right.
Yeah,
don't let us hold you up. We got some work to do on the Spits.
No problem.
Anyway, we got the other one out here with a nice cantilevered 4-blade.
Rocks, I kicked into one and it just...
Yeah, lose the rocks. All right, now here's...
It puts a hole in your wing.
We're trying to record this for, you know, for our own reference as well as sharing it with you. The thing the plane was, it was a little light above 45, so what Joe is going to do, 3 turns on the Ray rudder linkage will take care of that. We want to get the lead outs further back by about 3/8 of an inch, and that's where mine wound up after a day at the circle burner field. You can see where mine wound up. His are further forward, so having the lead outs back. Now what I did is, as I was flying it, especially in inverted flight, I could see the outboard gear in front of the inboard gear. Looking at the landing gear will always give you a rough idea as to where you are as far as the plane yawing out. Joe's seems to be yawing, if anything, yawing in instead of out, but that can be taken care of course, with the lead outs. And of course, most important, with the Ray rudder linkage. That'll take care of that in one stroke of the pen. Now, if you don't have a Ray rudder linkage, then you got to make up a trim tab with a beer can or cut into the plane, or even if you don't have a Ray, what's okay is have an adjustable rudder. And the last thing is, the motor's got enough runs on it now. I flew this last flight. The motor's got enough runs, we're going to pull out the spare head gasket and get it into making up some horsepower. And as soon as we got a guy practicing team race out here, as soon as he's finished, we'll hopefully get it. The air is just nice. It's incredible how nice this day is turning out to be, Joe. I'm amazed. You lucked out. Okay, that's neutral. You're at about 4. Well, let's try it once.
Yeah, okay.
But the worst that can happen, it's going to yaw, and you just back down on it. It's nice to have that adjustment there, huh?
Yes, it is.
A lot better than an X-Acto knife. Uh-oh, Team Race King is out of here. This guy's on the World Team Race team, and he's breaking our balls here all day. We got to keep pulling our lines in, but it's okay. We believe there's room for everybody in the hobby, even team racers. Now what's funny too on Joe's, the radiators didn't seem to impede. It didn't seem like the radiators were impeding the outside turn, and I used my handle when I flew it, so I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. But Joe's a hollow. He's flying this thing. We gotta get out of the way. I guess he's got it cranking now. Yeah. Rear exhaust diesel. Anyway, he's out here, and we clear the field. We don't fool around. And when he lands, he usually takes every line on the field with him.
Basically, I started this with Marty Sicola back in the mid-'80s.
Flip it over so I can see the bottom. Oh, you got the lettering on the bottom and everything nice.
Yeah, got OS Max 40 in it.
See, you didn't put holes between the ribs on the flaps. See how they puff up in the sun?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
You got to put a pinhole in between every ribbon and one at the end.
Well,
then you don't get those puffy flaps
you
happening.
know what? I got a pair of flaps just like these uncovered. I'm going to try that thing.
That happened. I've had that happen. See how they bubble up?
Yeah. Pinhole between them, huh?
Between every rib, and then all the way out at the end, one pinhole lets out the pressure.
I also made the mistake of putting the clear dope on the rib themselves. I don't think.
Yeah, well.
Got a little trim tab here. Marty Sicola helped me build the wing back in like around '86.
Yeah.
I got it finished about two or 3 years ago, and I had a
Nice choice of paint. I love the green.
yeah, it's something different.
Kawasaki green. You got like Dutka's so Fancher's stars on. That's nice too.
Yeah, I wanted to get it more brilliant. I like them. This plane would have been better in like them hot day glow type.
Yeah.
But, you know, as it is.
Could be like the Paul Walker of Middlesex.
It flies pretty good. Now I finally got it turned out. Marty.
The extra.
Yeah, just leave one stock gasket and get an idle bar plug in there for now. That'll take care of that. So you got X-Acto knife, just use an X-Acto.
Problema. And I know it doesn't take much either.
No, even if you shorten. Now what Joe has, that we were trying to put this on video so it's a reference. You went in quite a bit on a Rabe. I would back that out. That's the next step. Back out at least one turn, or move it one notch away from the fuselage. Either one will be okay. The motor seems better, but you know you need a tank shim too now. See how that comes right to play? Soon as you could hear it, as soon as you took it inverted, it wanted to go rich. So we need one less shim between the tank and the motor, and then move the lead outs back another slabberoo, and we're all set. Now I've been flying this for most of the test flights, and it's time for Joe to get a flight in this. And I've got the lead outs even further back than mine, but that correlates because the CG is a little further back. And his rudder is just a slightly different shape, and we haven't zeroed in on having that right yet. But we certainly are getting closer with each flight. And I think if we could lighten up the bottom of the plane, what I'd like to do is get the gear bent a little bit further forward to lighten up the bottom of the plane. That'd cure the wing hanging in inverted flight. Just a little fine tuning here. Joe, you know, if you take those gear off, I can bend them right up on the table here. You don't even need pliers. You can put it in a crack of the wood.
Let's see what the, all right, you want to do air, you want to do lead outs and,
I want to do the lead outs, get rid of the air scoops, and we'll bend the gear forward just a little bit for the next flight.
Is that too many things for one?
No. You can always put nothing, no part of this is you can't put back. The main thing is going to be the lead outs, getting the lead outs further back. And I would go back go back a full 3/8 of an inch. Why fool around? It's not a critical thing right now. You don't even have the right, you know, CG yet, the final CG. You're not losing anything that it took you 2 years to get. And you know, when you really start hammering it, when you're just playing with it, it doesn't come out. But when you really hammer it, it does turn tighter inside than outside, just like mine did when it had the radiators on. It's exactly the same symptom, so give it a shot. Now, what motor is this?
Cyclone.
And how much is this little? This is a 15 diesel?
The 15 diesel.
How much does that cost?
He's running about $1,000.
$1,000? This is $1,000?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a special for...
Where do you get the money? You bring drugs into the country? Holy crap. That's, I can't believe that. I know it's true. He was playing with this little team race engine with this. When you get this thing dialed in, boy, it goes like a rape tape. But boy, oh boy, $1,000 is a lot of money, boy. If I'd spend that money, you know what my wife would do? I'd be getting buried in the backyard with the shrubs.
This is the same thing for speed, but the timing is different.
Let me see. Let me get it real close. I bought that engine, that Stalker engine. For, no, take it anyway. See how this mounts? By the way, anybody that doesn't know about stunt motors, I wish they would make this in a stunt motor. That's a great idea. The further apart you can put the mounts, the better it absorbs vibrations.
See in the way. He got the ball bearing.
And a needle bearing rod?
Yes, he has a needle. See the ball bearing in here. It's a house.
Oh yeah.
See?
Yeah.
You need a special tool to take it out.
Oh, and the tool is $1,000. And you gotta buy it from them. You can't buy it in a hardware store.
Yeah, no way.
Oh man.
The same.
Hey, Johnny O's getting a flight here, and what we did, we put a little tip weight, moved the lead outs back, almost a mirror image of what we're doing at Joe's plane. He's looking to get a little, where's the plane? A little more tension up top. You know, keep in mind, trimming a plane. Part of it that a lot of people overlook, when you need more tension up top, over 45 degrees, number 1, tip weight. Number 2, prop diameter. Number 3, just plain speed. Number 4, shorter lines. I mean, there's 8 or 10 things you can do in combination. Now, let's see if he's got this. Now, before, this was chasing him. Looks like it's staying out there pretty decent now. Anyway, let's see how Joe's doing on the spit, and it's starting to rain now. God, I can't believe it. This was such a beautiful day, and I feel raindrops coming.
Displacement of 15?
Yes.
I didn't get it. Put that in my...
You got 1,000 in your pocket, Joe?
I have to sell something.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to sell my shrubs at home. Now, Joe decided to install retracts. Not really. We got the gear, we're trying to bend them a little further forward. I've got like, I guess 5 or 6 flights on this now. And it's really coming around quickly. But like mine, getting rid of the radiators equalized the turn. 1, 2, 3, boom, done. And what it still is, the plane is a little bottom heavy, which when it's flying in inverted flight is pushing the wing down just a little bit. So by moving the gear forward, they'll in effect be shorter, and that'll put less centrifugal force out pushing the wing down. And Joe's been confirming each time it's gotten better and better. I don't know, did you foot? Okay, my friend, let's do it. Looks like you even got a pocket of air here. No more rain, that's for sure. I can't believe it. We've had rain, sun. It must be 75, 80 degrees here. I'm roasting. I feel like I'm in Hawaii.
Okay, I won't do anything radical.
Just watch it. Still a little rich on outside. Still Okay, now Joe's got the gear bent forward. The radiators are off. The plane still needs a tank shim. It has a little tendency to go rich on inverted. In fact, here it is, it's going rich already. But we didn't want to squander any time away on a tank shim right now. But so what happens is when you go to do the outsides, they tend to get a little soft. But it's because the motor's not exactly even yet, but we'll get to that. That's something I'd rather do in the shop anyway. We do have a pocket of it's almost flyable air out here. It's unbelievable. This thing has that wicked inside turn. You almost can't control that inside turn. It's that last one at the end of the triangle that I like. Whoop, there it is. Anyway, we're getting a lot of the little trim stuff. The raid rudder looks real close. The tip weight's real close. Lines are real close now. And we're still fooling with the Brian Ether prop because I don't have any of the other multi-blades ready to bolt right on. And actually, it wouldn't do any good until the tank shim is exactly where it wants to be to start doing some fine-tuning on props. I'd rather have that right. Now, what it was doing before up here, it was kind of soft. Looks like that problem's taken care of. And we needed to constantly move the lead outs back because the CG is further back on this than on mine. So his lead outs are probably going to wind up further back than mine. The lead out to the CG relationship, if the CG is back, the lead outs will probably wind up back. Lousy air here. Anyway, we have had a really good session. And I don't know how much longer this battery's going to last. We had one go dead already, but anyway, this will give us some good things to look back at. And of course, the memories of what hopefully is going to be see how it goes rich on inverted when the shim isn't right? No motor brake at all here. Okay, so maybe even want to go 3/32 instead of 1/16. Okay, we have had one hell of a session. I'm going to spend a little time with Johnny O here. He's going to try one of my handles. The handle that he had a lot of overhang. I think and when I flew the plane, it really felt like it was like it was had a 4-stroke or something in it that weighed 2 pounds. Anyway, you got to be willing to give it up like a couple of flying sessions, John. Right. Don't think that's going to be a one-shot thing, but give it a try anyway. He's trying to, which I flew this a few times, and it feels like it's much heavier than it is. To get that light feeling, I always want the arms short. And of course, Joe makes a mirror image of the handles that I sell anyway, so his are pretty well dialed in. And we have, this has been a good day, Joe.
Oh, yes, it has.
And you've got it preserved in infamy, like Pearl Harbor here. Wipe that puppy off, and
hey, you know,
you'll be a smiling puppy on the way home. The hardest part of the day, putting that fuel cap on, wiping it off, and then heading up to the diner. Now we're leaving Middlesex after a really good session. Joe had a good first day. Johnny O got some trim changes done. One of the things, you know, this is a perfect time to mention, I'm going to go to Carlos Serra's house here for the first time. I helped him move and I saw the house, but I haven't seen his shop wall set up. One of the things I really enjoy is seeing how other people organize their shop and how they work. And I always get ideas for my own shop, and needless to say, Carlos is one of my really good friends. He is one of the people my wife and I enjoy going out with him and his wife. We enjoy going to the Portuguese restaurants and the nude bars and everything. But He's a prince, there's no doubt about it. We're going to go to his house. I'm going to drive over there and we'll check out his new shop. Well, it looks like Carlos is stuck at work, so we're not going to get to see his shop today. But anyway, I'm going to get home. Time to do some landscaping. It's been a good day. We'll catch Carlos another. Boy, after a long day of flying, it's always good to get back to the tree-lined, shaded streets of Rutherford and back to that landscaping job. I'm sure the wife's waiting for me with a shovel in hand. Look at everything's blooming, all the maples are out. Look at all this. All the azaleas are out. I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to working on the house myself. Look at the azaleas here. Beautiful downtown shady trees of Rutherford. So when I get home from a long day of flying, there's nothing better than looking at my front yard, my backyard, my house. 3 years. We're celebrating this week our 3rd year of working on this house, and it's not even close to being done. Well, look at this. The wife has been out shopping, buying flats. Oh, she's got my work cut out. I see things that need to be planted. Let's see, will she answer the call? She's not even answering my call. No respect. No respect when you're in the RAF. Unbelievable. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes.
Oh, hello.
Did you spend any money today?
I did. I bought lots of flowers.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. No flying tomorrow, huh?
No.
Mother's Day tomorrow. Actually, I gotta go see my mother. My mother'd die if I went flying on Mother's Day. Now, Mrs. Vanya's, I know you love looking at Martha Stewart. This is what we did yesterday. No flying, no Spitfires, no prop development. We got the first half of our garden in. Got the string up for the fence line. And I'll tell you, Karen and I broke our ass doing this. Actually, it's been a family project, so it's been real good. But real proud of it. Hey, just want to share it with you. We got another day getting bricks. We're going to get bricks all day today. This is where the brick patio is going to be. You can see all this nonsense, and pretty soon we'll have 8 million bricks here, I hope, as soon as Craig gets back from UPS. Now, if you can see, there's 2 little red maples here. I planted these little seedlings yesterday. These came from my mother's house. My sister dug these out and gave them to us for Mother's Day, so we're hoping they're going to grow in our garden. They're just babies right now. More to come on the great landscaping project of 1996. Now the gear legs are all nice and dry. I'm ready to work on the wheels as soon as I get another pair of wheels set up. I pulled apart last night. I pulled apart the 5-blade mold. It needed some touch-ups, as it always does. It seems like I always get at least one air bubble somewhere I have to touch up. But it did come apart. And it looks like I have salvaged this mold. I'm really impressed. If that's going to be able to make props, I don't know. But it's certainly better than total abandonment. I got this prop out of here already. This is one made with surfboard resin. I'm going to test that resin. And of course, the main thing is getting this 5-blade. But today's a landscaping day. We're going to get bricks. All this is sitting on the back burner today. Now look at this. We just got our new load of wood for cardinal kits. And our newest employee, sanding slave, writing down the weight on each block so we know which one to cut up for wingtips and top blocks and whatever here. And boy, this wood looks choice. This is white bread. Make sure you get these right, Brian. You start sending out heavy wood, boy, you get the bada bing. You can see we already started cutting up some of the wood into wingtips and into all the various parts, cowlings and cowling blocks and whatever. Anyway, we really did get it good. I really am impressed with them. This last load of wood.
177.
Unbelievable. If you need a kit, this is a good time to get one. Now, one of the projects we have Don from the club coming over. He wrecked the plane. I don't know, today or the last week he wrecked his plane. Going to do a little repair on his plane. Want to do some paint work on Brian's Griffin tonight. But first of all, hey, I got to show. I thought I'd put this on the video too. Check this out. This is my wife. She's on the front page of the paper today. Anyway, what she did, she's a hero. She helped the Bosnian family that's been refugees put together a package where they got an apartment and everything, and hey, got them some furniture and stuff. Karen, you're okay. I don't care what John Pothier says about you anyway. Front page of the paper. Get used to doing this, Brian. This is your permanent job from now on. You want to be national junior champ, you got to weigh every top block in Riley Wooten's store.
Airplane.
New ad.
Give me that black tip. It's from now.
Pop the screw in there.
That's not a problem.
All the
Perfect, yeah.
So that you got a really good tire for it.
They came out nice.
Yeah. We used to make that.
Supposed to be.
Today. It's nice.
My desk for now.
You guys really go RC business too.
We want to get to be fine.
Oh yeah, it is.
Just pull in one second.
Just a little bit. Oh, we got problems.
All right, we got a little more masking to do here, and then we're going to be ready to paint this guy.
Six engines.
No, it's an RC plane. Bye.
We're watching this stuff, that QSAA thing on there. Look at this. Oh my God, that makes me sick just looking. I can't even look at that. Anyway, speaking of crashes, we're looking here. Don brought a. Wow. Now, tell me exactly what happened here. Let's.
Well, I was coming out of the finish of the four-leaf clover.
Okay, normal, good air at the club field.
Over wing over thing.
Right.
And it pulled out maybe 6 or 8 feet above the ground, but it never pulled out. It went right in, straight into the ground.
And what we did, and this is a good idea to do anytime you have something suspect. He unsoldered the flap linkage, and of course, this is real easy to repair.
The pilot had blonde hair.
This is easier than anything else. But the only thing I see, and I don't see anything like there's nothing loose on the control systems. He's got 3 30-second horns, so they're very easy to tweak and everything. That's the only thing I see on the whole thing. And there's nothing else loose, so after a thorough investigation by the FAA, we've determined that he had 2 beers before he went flying.
The swamp swallowed
The swamp. You're a lot better than that guy in the DC-9 that went in. Holy mackerel.
You can't even find anything there.
Wow, yeah, they can't even find the bodies.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really,
man.
if you don't want to, I'll bet you the alligators will get here for people before they find them.
The people might have all been alive. Who
Part
knows?
of a body yet, they said. Not even a piece of a
I thought
body.
Did you paint this skull on the...
I
Did
thought
you
they
paint
took some
this? Or
stuff.
that a decal?
I thought they took some stuff to the medical examiner.
Anyway, it's always a good idea to do an autopsy because now we know for sure that it was at least not a failure of one of the bell cranks, the bolts, the lead outs. He was not sure, and now of course it's just a question of putting it back together. Somebody want to get the... Wait, where's the phone? Brian? Right, now we shot this black on here. Here's the biggest thing now. When the lacquer should dry overnight, 24 hours, but they have to take it back to Pennsylvania in a box. So we want to take off the tin foil, but not the last piece of tape, right? Just the tin foil, but not the piece of tape that borders, and roll that up, and don't stick your hand in the garbage can. There's razor blades in the garbage. You ever stick your hand in the garbage can here, you might come up like a pincushion.
You can't really take this off because...
No. Yo, leave that there. Well, just tear the foil. Tear the foil here. You can tear, so you can get most of it off. Anyway, the old Griffin will be flying this weekend. Notice the nice exhaust stacks. Hey, Pro Stun exhaust stacks. The Griffin lives with his whole nose rebuilt. We're going to write something up for Pamper about this. How about the wheels? Did you make the wheel doors yet?
Yep.
You made a set?
Yep.
Okay, well, what, you know, get it all set up for Saturday. We'll go down to Middlesex and fly it.
That's what I plan to do.
And
Yes.
Brian, you can take
Another one. You try
how much in pumps.
the
Oh,
harder
Brian,
to
we'll
find,
get it.
figure it out once. What is
Alright. Wendy,
Yeah.
I'll give you a call during the week.
Okay.
Maybe I'll call you.
Now, after what turned out to be a really productive Monday night session, I got the mail open, and this is from Alan Beers, and he went out to a museum, apparently out in Reno. He's from Nevada, so it must be in Reno, and found there was 2 flyable Spitfires. Now, I'm trying to determine which models they are. Maybe you can tell by looking. I'm sure Joe can. Turtleback model. Looks like it has the same rudder we have, the same exhausts, 4-bladed prop. Pretty much the same paint job, Canadian Air Force markings. And I'm just going to run through these pictures real quick. He says he thought both of these were airworthy. I really can't tell from the pictures, but they certainly do look like they're in mint condition. And of course, how could anybody not love this? Check that prop out. Oh my God, the 5-bladed Spitfire. Look at the prop tips. I mean, tell me... Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. That is beautiful. That is really nice. Now that's the bubble canopy version. Another picture of that guy. Again, the Griffin engine, of course, with the bubbles. Some pictures of a Hurricane, and he was... That is a real nice set of pictures, by the way. I really didn't get a lot of detailed information from, you know, about what's in each one of these pictures. Obviously, this is a Spitfire, and there's some other things in the museum. Al, if you're watching, you know, and you wouldn't mind, sit around and do some photo captions for us in the future. Again, this is just unbelievable. Now, if the Griffin has, of course, the Griffin engine has that hood more or less, and the 5-bladed props. Look at that 5-bladed prop. Oh my God. Gerald Champ, eat your heart out. How many people have a 5-bladed prop like that? Not many, Wendy. Anyway, he also reminded me, and of course he did write in a letter, that the Thunderbolt had a semi-elliptical wing, and it just happens to be a Thunderbolt out there. So I'm going to run through these real quick. These are all pictures from, and again, they are really, really a nice set of pictures. Al, I really appreciate this from Alan Beers, and I really do appreciate. I especially like the one of the 5-bladed prop. I do not know how a human being could not be excited about seeing that. Here's the other Spit, and especially if these two are flyable, maybe you can find out, you know, some way what the history of these are. The old Hawker. And it looks like they're really, I mean, from the pictures at least anyway, they look like they're really in El Minto condition. This looks like it just, you know, just had a fresh coat of Imron or something. This is really clean. Crystal clean. Nice markings, by the way. Has the blisters for the cannons, and of course the hood for the grill. Look at the hood in this picture. Oh man, ADAMUSKO. Now look, ADAMUSKO. You're one like me who's very emotional about these. Look at the twist in the blade, the pitch of the blades. So many neat things on a Spitfire. So many things. Now it's funny, Al was telling me that his wife has a little problem with the smell of the dope in the house. I don't think there's a modeler alive that has a wife that runs down to the shop and says, gee, I love the smell of that dope. But you know what, and Karen, I just passed this on as a matter of, it's not a big deal, of course. I absolutely can't stand when Karen cooks eggs in the house. Eggs, there's a couple of things. Fish, anything with butter that burns the butter. When I smell butter burning, eggs or fish, I'm out of here. Even if it's snowing outside, I have to put a coat on and go outside. Anyway, I'm sure that's a very common phenomenon. Anyway, more Spitfire stuff. Oh my God, look at this prop. See, this is why I'd like Gallagher to get off his pony and figure out what all of those little insignias are. Oh, Here we go, here, as I speak. Gallagher, get your pen out. Now look. Boom, 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 there we go. 5-blade, look at the rake tips on this. Oh! Can't believe it. This is some nice set of pictures. Al, you're okay. I don't care if your wife throws you out of the house, you're okay. Anyway, we all have that problem from time to time. We all have to deal with it. My wife isn't crazy about the smell of fiberglass either, so I told her I won't make any fiberglass parts if she doesn't eat anymore. I don't think it's going to work, though. I think she's going to win. Anyway, nice picture of the rudder. And by the way, that is the rudder we used on our Spit. Look at now, ADAMUSKO. We were talking about the rudders. The radiators. Look at the size of the radiators on the Griffin-powered one. Look at the size of those radiators. Look at it. Look at that. I don't know why, but this just blows my mind how nice that spinner is and that 5-bladed prop. That is just unbelievable. Boy, oh boy. And by the way, we are closing in on. We've already popped the mold on the 5-blade. We're doing some touch-up on the mold. Won't be getting to work on that because we're unloading bricks for the next 2 days. Here's another one. Contracted out to do bricks. As if we needed more work in the house. Nice camo job. Hey, nice. Same prop decals. I'm sure on a real plane they don't call them. Here's another one. Oh, man. Now tell me that isn't nice. I can hear Gerald Champ now. Oh, nice. Nice radial engine, URTNOWSKI'S. There you go. There are still a whole bunch of people in the world, and through the Spitfire project I've come to know a lot more of them, that really do have a love and appreciation of things semi-scale and the extra work and time it takes to do one of these planes. And boy, I certainly have enjoyed and cherished every minute that I've had. Now look, here it says the Museum of Flying Supermarine Spitfires. Let me try to read this real quick. Using 2,050 horsepower Rolls-Royce Griffin engine, the Spitfire Mark XIV was the most successful of all Spitfire variants, downing the V1 flying bomb, accounting for 300. And it gives the specifications. Anyway, to Alan Beers, thanks a lot. Okay, in today's mail. Boy, was I happy to see this guy. Nice hat, and I'll try to save him either for the Nats or for flying at contests or whatever. Real nice Spitfire hat, though. These came from England, and I put the address. I don't have the Spitfire book here. It's out on loan. But the address is on one of the previous videos for any of the subscribers that want to check it out. And it looks like this is, to me, it looks like real nice quality stuff. The delivery took about a month because it didn't come, you know, like overnight, like, hey, these people aren't windy, you know what I mean? It's not like Windy Overnight Express. But it really looks like nice quality stuff, real nice hat, real nice shirt, and I'm certainly going to look forward to having that at the Nats and at maybe some future contests. I was moving bricks all day today with Craig and George, so I didn't get a chance to work on this, but I just came back to see if I had any other low spots on here. I'd need to, and I'm going to grind this away and then fill in any of the little ditches. It usually takes 2 coats. A couple little spots on the female part of the mold, but it looks like we really did salvage that mold. I'm very impressed. So more on this as soon as we get the bricks all over at the property. We got one more day of moving bricks, and thank God that'll be over. Now, my good friend Gerald Champ sent me in another bundle of neat stuff. Some neat videos that I don't have in my collection already, and I'll make copies, and of course loan them out to anybody that's interested. Spitfire 60th anniversary, owning and flying a Spitfire. Now, can you just picture? Here's Windy, and here's ADAMUSKO. Unbelievable. Hey, there's Champ in the back. Anyway, I'm going to look through this, and it's some really nice. Needless to say, there's such a collection of Spitfire stuff that's unbelievable. I also heard from Rob Kirk at Model Aviation. He really liked the Tsunami article, and it will be published soon, so look for it at your favorite magazine stand. And just some typical pictures of what I find really neat here. Now look, things you don't see in every magazine. Some of the unusual planes. Really nice stuff. And always interesting stories. There's also some Bearcat stuff I have to read. And as always, there's always some, this is about a Bader's Spitfire rediscovered. Camera may hold key to identity of wreckage located in France. There's just so many neat things. A magazine like this is just, you know, you could spend hours and hours. I spend hour after, hey, look at the prop tips, hour after hour of my lunch hours and sitting on a can and whatever. Love this stuff. You know, when the choice comes down to reading about Spitfires or the Simpsons, no contest. Just some of the things that are really interesting in this. Of course, there's no end to it. Once you get addicted to this stuff and you really want to know about it, now look. It looks like the cross between a Spitfire and a Corsair here. These are things you generally just don't see in model aviation magazines, or aviation magazines anyway. You got to be willing to dig just a little bit deeper and try a little harder to get all the information. This would make an excellent stunt model. Especially if you could drop that torpedo on one of the judges. Hey, Windy, shut up. Be politically correct. Anyway, kid around. Hey, come on, we kid around. We want to bomb judges and everything, but doesn't it make you sick? They have all kind of air shows with Spitfires over in England. Yeah. Send me a free plane trip to England. Oh man, I don't like this too much. Now this is one painted up with the same color scheme Joe chose. Oh Joe, eat your heart out. Look at this. Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Jet spinner. Griffin engines. Really nice paint scheme. Nice paint scheme. And you know, everybody that's seen Joe's model so far, they fell in love with the color. I think you got a winner there, Joe. 5-bladed prop. Bubble canopy version. Just look at that 5-bladed prop. Hey, we're going to be working on that mold later this week. Get this yard under control. I got 10 million bricks outside. And look at this on a low pass, a low photo opportunity. This would make a nice model paint job, this silver with the red stripe. Hey, and just a thought, Jer, maybe you wouldn't mind shipping this book off to Joe ADAMUSKO for a quick look. This really has a lot of Spitfires in it. I'm sure Joe and Bob Martens both wouldn't mind borrowing it when I return it to you, which, hey, maybe I won't return it. I'll just keep the damn thing. Anyway, might want to consider that. Joe is, boy, just as crazy about this stuff as I am. And that's just one of the things that I guess, you know, unique to our hobby or whatever, is when you get into this, it's so much fun sharing this stuff with other people. It really adds another nice dimension to the hobby that normally if you're doing ironing boards, you know, I don't know, you don't seem to get into it the same way. Five blades. Oh my God, I love those 5 blades. Boy, it is a nice photo. Unbelievable. This book is absolutely, if not one of the best I've ever seen, and it's just chock full. I mean, it's just no end to Spitfires. This is some book. Jerry, I really appreciate this. This is the kind of stuff, believe me, you just can't put a value on this. This is really neat stuff. Now this would be a really nice semi-scale project, and by the way, if anybody doesn't know, Joe has already got drawings for a Yak 3. I think it's a Yak 3. He sent me some things, and he's got Yak Project, the same way we had Spitfire Project, Yak Project. But anyway, hey Joe, think about it. Don't discount you get good old 86s, man. That's a nice, pleasant, really nice. You can millions of paint jobs with stars and stripes and military. Imagine having the real exhaust pipe. That'd really be nice. Coming out the side. Hey, a lot of cool ideas. I'm just amazed because I have a collection of magazines, you know, and this is by far one of the best. This just really has a lot of stuff in it. A lot of nice pictures, a lot of nice artwork, a lot of nice photos. Anyway, there's the magazine, and it's a good one. Believe me, this is one. I know Shampa's going to get me a copy for my own collection, but I'll return this begrudgingly to him. Jared, thanks a lot. Tammy, thanks a lot. Now, these are just the spots on this mold. Of course, this is still a repaired mold. Heard from Ed Gallagher today, and we have some Epon coming, which is one of the resins we want to use for the final prop testing. So I like to get this mold at least half cleaned up tonight. And what's real handy for cleaning up all these shapes are these polywogs. These are the Jim Damarel guys. And these rubber blocks, they're just hard rubber body filling blocks for getting in all the little cavities. And of course then I'll do the final sanding over at the sink with some 1200 and some steel wool, and then try to get this all polished up. But because it's a repaired mold, I don't want to spend too much time with it, but I really want to see what the limit of the ability, my ability anyway, to do mold repairs is, because I'm sure from time to time we're going to bust a few of them up. So I kind of use this as a little bit of an education anyway. Without these polywogs, a lot of this stuff would be almost impossible.
Cutting those little troughs in at the end of the prop blades, just dremeling them in. That'll let the extra resin out when we go to cast the mold.
set of knives that Jim Damerel got me when he was in China. These are really made in China. They're made for wood cutting, but what it is, they work real well on Bondo, too. I'll try to show some of these up close if you can see just the variety of shapes and chisel shapes they have and stuff. What it is I need on this mold, I don't know if you can see on this mold, there needs to be a lot of dressing off, and I want to thicken up this area here. So what I did is, by taking out the wood plug, I found what I think is going to be the weakest spot, and I want to add some material in there. So what I'll do is take away material from the mold so that we'll have a stronger hub section on this prop. These tools get in the corners and edges, and I'm trying to get a nice prop edge here. Now it looks like I did a couple little patches with the Bondo. It looks like the last little step here on this mold is going to be before we can actually make a test casting. I'm getting everything polished up with the steel wool as smooth as possible. And again, I'm waiting for Ed to send the EPON. We may have that in the next couple days, so if I can get a test prop made with the polyester, at least I'll know if the mold is going to work, if it's going to break, crack, whatever. I've really got a lot of time into this mold. It's hard to tell with the video, but I've got a couple hours just cleaning up the patches. But again, this is one that, you know, we hopefully have salvaged from the, I don't know, the mold master, the mold king, or whatever. This will be interesting to see if this works. And if it doesn't, I have that aluminum out there. I can start right on another one. I don't even have to make another plug. I already have the plug made. And I'll polish this with a little Gorham's and then start the process with the PVA. Actually, it's supposed to rain all day today, so we might even get this done later today. By the way, this is a cute story. This is Karen and I's anniversary today, and she bought me a card. And of course, me being a creative guy that I am, I made her a video. I made an anniversary video. Maybe that's an idea one of you guys can spring on your wives and impress the hell out of them. Oh look, there's a flaw in the mold right there. As I'm doing it, I went through into an air bubble of Bondo. Okay, good thing I tried this. Anyway, I took a video and just made up a little, you know, 10 reasons why I love you kind of thing. Kind of neat. So maybe one of you guys can get some extra brownie points, you know. Because believe me, without Karen, none of this would be possible. Karen keeps my underwear clean and keeps all the house nice and everything. Wouldn't even have that garden out there if it wasn't for her and George. All right, I got to make that one more patch and we'll be ready. Well, I put the pin in here. I'm ready to get the first coat of wax on. We're going to do 4 coats of wax, 2 of PVA, and maybe, because of the rainy day, maybe even the last thing tonight, we can get one of these cast up. I'm excited about the fact that this is going to be finished today, or at least that I'll get a test. Now, while I'm waiting for that, a couple of coats of wax to dry, I got a couple of little projects to work on. One of them was in today's mail. Pictures of how Bob Green from Inchaleam, Washington, how his Cardinal kit's coming, and it looks real nice. I hope, you know, we're going to get some pictures of this when it's finished and it's in multi-colored mode. Now, one of the neat little inventions Bob sent in, this little thing that you put on the rods to keep the rods from sliding back and forth, and you can pretty much figure out how he did this. Cheap, inexpensive, and it works perfectly, the criteria that we're always looking for. Now while I'm waiting for the next coat of wax to dry, what I want to do is, this is from the new prop mold, which has a little more undercamber. We made that off of, well, a little bit different. We thinned out the plug. It's got thinner blades and more undercamber. So what I'm doing is I'm using a round sanding drum. It helps me get into the undercambered section, which already is cast into the prop. And this is made with the surfboard resin. And maybe we'll have one of these to test this weekend. We'll have this one anyway. Unless I get some time, I can cast up another one. I'd like to get one. I like to make 2 of everything, so if, like for instance, this prop is 12 5/8, I could cut it to 12 3/8. And of course, when you take material off of one blade, you want to always go back and take it off the other blade. But now we'll have pretty much the same prop, which was on the last 2 Walker fly-offs for me. And one of the things that I'll have it in an undercambered model, a thick blade and a thin blade. And of course made with, this is going to be 3 or 4 different kind of resins. I understand that from talking to Ed Gallagher that some EPON is coming my way. I already have the literature for it, so I've been reading up on the literature, so we can try one of these made out of EPON as soon as we get it. Anyway, this one looks like the best one of all the ones we've, it's just going to need some balancing. And with that undercamber molded right in, what's real nice is you can just a little bit of sanding and dressing off and a prop is ready to use. Now, it looks like we're going to have enough time to lay up one more prop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the surfboard resin on this prop and use some wider toe. I have some wider toe that I got from Dave Brown, just to use it as an experiment. Now I'm going to make up some surfboard resin with some extra chop and some surfboard resin without chop for this test. And I'll of course put the black dye in this, since we know we know what this prop is going to be. We don't have to keep track of it. Now this is the West Systems graphite fibers, and I'm going to try to use these on this. I'm going to try to figure out exactly how I want to do this. This will probably be a little more difficult to handle. Maybe it won't be, I don't know. I just want to say. What I'm going to do is use some of each in this, but I want to test this out. This is the West Systems stuff. And I got the resin mixed with the extra chop in it to get in all the corners and around the hub. And I'm going to get the other one mixed, and we'll be ready to start this layup. Okay, as we've always done, I lay up the first coat of resin that goes on here, has the chop in it. And this has proven to make a real nice, well, a sandable, nice finish. Otherwise, the corners don't come out right. Without the chop, I don't get, the resin pulls away from the corners and you get kind of funky corners. Anyway, these are all the little things we've learned over the course of this. Will be the, actually about the 7th, I think. We got 4, 5, 6, and one that's self-destructed. We have 7 props made out of 3 separate molds, 2 of which have self-destructed already, so we hope we're getting better. And tomorrow, for sure, we're going to be doing that 5-blade, so if you've been looking forward to it as much as I have, stay tuned. Don't go away. And we're looking at really a nice weekend of, the weather is supposed to be really nice this weekend. A lot of cool stuff and some of these props to test. Let me just see if I have some trick I can use to keep this from making me crazy. Again, this may be easier to use than the thinner toe, and maybe more of a pain in the ass. Really don't know until you give it a try. Now I can wet this out with the resin that doesn't have chop in it. And I'll get some extra around the hub. You know, I don't know if you're sharing my enthusiasm for this, making all these molds and everything as we head toward hopefully trying to have a fiberglass stunt ship someday. But, you know, if I didn't start somewhere and if I wasn't willing to accept the risk, uh-oh, there's Nixon, right in the middle of a mold. Oh. Now, as I put the second thing in, it looks like the easiest way to do this, and I'm trying to put as many of these tips on the video as possible, is to start from the middle and work your way out, since even if you catch one hair of this crap, you almost have to throw it away. And trying to go from the middle to the outside, going from the middle to the outside seems to work the best. Now I'm just trying to get some of these strands in here and then some short ones in by the hub. This is where it gets tricky when you start getting these things. The idea is the prop gets thicker and thicker toward the hub, so you need, these are shorter, they don't go all the way out to the tip, and then you need those little fat guys right in the middle. And then what I'm going to do with this one, just for a test, is make some carbon chop and put the chop right on the back of this. You know, the overall goal here, the overall goal of any carbon prop is to get as much carbon and as little resin, and yet have it still wetted out and held together. You don't want to have a solid resin prop. You want to have as much of it to be carbon fiber as possible. Now these are the medium-sized fibers going in here. I made some carbon chop. I don't know how effective that's going to be. Just to put in by the hub. Stuff is really a pain in the asses. When you get little fibers of it, it wants to stick to everything. But you know, this is the learning curve. And I'll try to pack the hub with that. And I get the rest of this chop just to try to press down on that if I can. And what I'm going to do is paint the other half of the mold and put another piece of that West ribbon in there and try to, well, I don't know if I can do this. If I can get that ribbon to be like the other surface of the prop. Even though we usually sand right through that, it really doesn't even matter. But the more chop I can get in here, the better, of course, the less resin there'll be and the lighter the prop will be, hopefully. I'm going to have to chop up some more of this stuff. Now again, I'm going to try to, this is an experiment, lay a little piece of that ribbon on this side and see if that gives us what we're looking for. Kind of be a half-finished side. And this will be, we're putting actually more resin into this. Typically there's a little less than an ounce of resin in a prop. This has got about an ounce and a third in here, and a lot of this is going to ooze out. You know this is going to be fun. This is going to get all stuck up. But again, what the trick is, that hopefully I know the trick, maybe I don't. Start in the middle and work your way to the outside. And we're going to slam this mold together. You kind of start at the middle and work toward the outside. It seems to go pretty good. Now I'll just install the clamps and start the clamping sequence here. I'm sure a lot is going to ooze out of this. I'm trying not to over tighten and to torque equally here, of course. Now Gerald Shant mentioned in his letter that he wanted some exhaust stacks. You know what, Jer? No problem. I'll just use the extra resin I got here to pour you up some stacks. Anyway, that's what's nice about this. You can always just use it. I'm trying to get a nice clean set for Jer. Hey, by the way, he wants to build that Charles Mackey Spitfire. Jer, don't even think about it. Build it. Send me the plans. I'll build it for you. Now, while that stuff is all drying up, I can get my backup set of Joe ADAMUSKO replica landing gear. What I'm going to do is put on a set of 2 1/4 to rounded light flights and try to get this ready to test for the weekend. So I'll have the 2 sets of gear. One rake's a little bit further back, one forward, one's a little shorter, and that can really be a big help finalizing the vertical CG. By the way, Joe has to do the same thing, is make up a set of gear a little shorter and a little longer so he can finalize that vertical CG. Now what's nice, this acrylic is dried for a couple of days, and of course if you have the patience to let it dry for a week or so, boy, it just buffs out like butter. A little bit of 1200 and a little bit of Gorham's, it's perfect. And one of the things I am going to be making real soon, if I get some spare time away from the prop development, is a set of scale gear. I have a couple ideas of what I'd like to do as far as making some scale gear up that had a little more detailing on them. Since I got this idea from Joe, it's been something I've been thinking about. Anyway, now I'll have the short gear, the long gear, the grass gear, and a lot of choices. And I hope even one of the choices I have is these gear will fit on Joe's plane, since his gear are in the Invasion stripes too. One more part we can interchange. We have the yellow spinners. We have the 2 4-bladed props ready to try this weekend. Both of them repitched. We'll have a lot of stuff to do once the weekend gets here. And I really hope, really, the big thing is the weather. I hope we're going to get some weather. That's the part of it you can't predict. Okay, we're going to end this session today with this. Pretty much tomorrow, the mold release agent's in there, and that's going to dry up. We'll be casting a 5-bladed prop tomorrow. Have our spare set of gear ready for the weekend so we can do our testing, experimenting, playing, whatever you want to call it. See you tomorrow. Long day. Alright, I got to get the PVA off here and clean off all the edges. Looks like we have another decent prop to make. And we can, we'll trim this all off camera. Actually, the mold is where it is. The second one came out of this mold. This mold looks like it's working fine. The PVA is coming off like saran wrap, like it, I assume, should. So, we're ready to do that 5-blade. I'm getting ready. I want to cut up the toe, get everything ready here, have all the parts ready. This is going to be the first pour of this mold. And one of the things I'm going to try to do is get these are strips of carbon laminate. I'm going to try to embed them right into the middle of the casting to act as stiffeners. These are some products that Ed sent from Bob Violet. But of course, these will go right in the middle of the laminate. Okay, they're all cut. I got all my toe cut. I'm going to mix up the resin. The first, and again, this is just a test to see how this mold is going to work and release and everything. Is I'm going to try one with the surfboard resin. EPON is already on its way. Okay, I'm trying to work fast because there's 5 blades here that I have to get the layup in instead of 2. Trying to get the first coat in with a little bit of chop in it. Then I want to get in some of that real soft, hairy resin, that the Bob Violet stuff. Again, because this is a test mold, I'm kind of timing to see how long this resin takes to kick off, even though this is not going to be the resin for the final prop. I'm trying to start at the hub, so if I get a mess, I can just swirl all the little extra strands around the hub. These things always tend to stick to the brush. It's kind of a pain in the neck. And I made plenty of a gap so they could flow out the end. Boy, this stuff, that is really a pain in the ass to use. I don't know if we're going to be able to make that a permanent part of this program. Stuff is so, like angel hair. It's so thin. Whoop, there it goes. I think I like using a heavier toe better. But again, that's why you do tests. That's why you don't run off and do the first one as the final product. Anyway, that sucker's all over the place. Next thing, I want to lay in some long toe that connects the blades. 4 or 5 pieces into each one. And get some more resin. They got the resin all pre-mixed. This toe really works a lot better, the truth is. Now see, these two will go from one blade right over into the other blade. And then the last thing will be those little spars, which I hope will really add some integrity, some stiffness. 5 per blade, I guess, would be around, right? 5, 6. And again, I'm trying to work fast because the object here is I don't want this stuff to start kicking off. Add 8 drops of hardener and an ounce of the resin. Maybe give it a little extra pot life. And what I'm trying to do is connect all the blades to all the blades so that the crisscross goes from side to side almost like you torque down the head of an engine. Okay, now while I have extra resin in there, I want to lay these in. Try to get them centered. Since I never tried one of these even on a 2-blade, this is another experiment I can get out of the way. As soon as we get the EPON, we're going to do an EPON prop, and I hope that'll be then a flyable, usable, you know, everything okay prop. Now, just like torquing down the head on an engine, I'm going to try to go corner to corner. Now, because I know this is a bullshit mold with a lot of cracks in it and repairs and stuff, I'm just not going to really try to bear down on it. But you can go around every minute or so for the next 10 minutes while this resin starts to gel. What I'm going to try is storing the mold upside down just to see if I can get rid of some of the air bubbles that way. Since I know I have a good bind on one side. I don't know if that's going to be a productive. Now we're at the end of this tape, and I'm going to let this sit in a mold while we go flying tomorrow. It certainly looks like, and this is just some of the bricks. Notice all the bricks we got here. A lot of digging's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, so hey. That's the price you pay. Anyway, I want to let this mold, and I found that by putting this stuff out in the sun, what really happens, it really does cure up real nice. Seems like just about the right temperature. Anyway, I'm going to let that out in the sun all day, finish working in the yard, and tomorrow is going to be a Middlesex day.